Hello everybody and welcome to Restaurant Recipe Recreations. This channel is dedicated to teaching you how to create your favorite signature dishes from the most popular restaurants. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to recreate the Monte Cristo sandwich from Bennigan's restaurant chain. And if you've never had or heard of a Monte Cristo sandwich, let me briefly explain it to you. It is a triple-decker sandwich with ham and American cheese on one side, turkey and Swiss cheese on the other side. The entire sandwich is then dipped in a batter, deep fried, topped with powdered sugar, and served with raspberry preserves. And I will admit that on paper there seems to be everything wrong with the idea of a Monte Cristo sandwich. But trust me when I tell you that when it's all put together and it's finished, the Monte Cristo sandwich takes all those wrong things and makes it perfectly right. I don't know how it does it, but it just does. I bartended and waited tables at a Bennigan's restaurant my senior year in college at Illinois State University. Shout out to my fellow Redbirds. And I think back then, the Bennigan's restaurant was like the biggest and fanciest restaurant in the major Twin Cities of Bloomington, Normal, Illinois. And I'm sure that that's all changed by now, but back then it was true. And until I had started working at that Bennigan's restaurant, up until then in my somewhat sheltered and suburban life, I had never even heard of a Monte Cristo sandwich. And honestly, I couldn't even understand the appeal. All I knew was that they were flying out of the kitchen, like they couldn't even keep up with the volume of Monte Cristos that they sold. And I'm sure that it helped that it was a college town, because on Saturdays and Sundays, the college kids would come in and order the Monte Cristo sandwich. And then I came to find out that it's because it is the perfect hangover food. And so that made sense. And I remember asking my general manager back then why the sandwich was so popular, because at that point I still hadn't tried one. And I remember being met with kind of a don't knock it until you try it type answer. And then I tried it. And it's no small exaggeration to say that it was an enlightening experience, and it probably changed the way that I view the world as a whole. And so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to teach you how to recreate the Monte Cristo sandwich from Bennigan's restaurant chain. But before we do, I would like to ask that if you enjoyed this channel, if you find it fun, if you find it informative, if I'm bringing you value by teaching you how to recreate your favorite signature dishes from the most popular restaurants, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. And if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up too, and feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Okay, enough of that. We're gonna start by making the batter, and then we're gonna put the sandwich together, and then I'm gonna show you how to deep fry the sandwich. So let's get started. This batter will be enough to make 2 full-sized Monte Cristo sandwiches, and you're gonna start with just a regular Bisquick baking mix. In a large mixing bowl, add 2 cups of Bisquick baking mix, 1 1/4 cup of half and half, 1/4 of a cup of regular granulated sugar, and 2 pinches of salt. And then just whisk all of those ingredients together until the batter is smooth and free of any lumps. And then just set that off to the side and we'll build the sandwich. For each sandwich, you're going to use 3 slices of bread. Try to find yourself a relatively square-shaped loaf of bread, and this happens to be a honey wheat. The reason that I used the honey wheat bread is because there's a slight sweetness to it that like a white bread doesn't offer. This sandwich has so much going on with it already that there are no additional condiments, so no mayonnaise or butter or anything. And then lay down about 3 slices of a high quality deli ham. I'm always going to recommend Boar's Head. I know that there are other brands that are out there that are great, but I happen to like Boar's Head. So about 3 slices of just a regular deli ham, 1 slice of American cheese. I prefer the Kraft Deli Deluxe American. Now you lay down the other slice of bread to make this a triple-decker sandwich. Add the same amount of turkey, about 2 to 3 nice thick slices. And now 1 slice of Boar's Head Swiss cheese. And then top the sandwich with your final piece of bread. And now I'm going to show you a very helpful tip that's going to help you in the battering and frying process. Is you're going to take 4 toothpicks and stick them in all 4 corners of the sandwich to keep the sandwich together while you're battering and frying. Just don't forget that the toothpicks are in here. You're gonna need to remove them before you eat the sandwich, otherwise you're gonna bite down on a toothpick and that's gonna be awful. And now, before you batter and fry the sandwich, you're going to cut the sandwich in half diagonally. And now to deep fry the sandwich. I have in this pan here about 1.5 inches of canola oil. How much oil you use will depend on the size of your pan that you're using, of course, but make sure that there's about 1.5 inches in the bottom, and the oil needs to come up to 365 degrees. If you do not have a food thermometer, one way to tell if your oil is hot enough for frying is just to flick some tap water into the fry oil. And obviously you can see in here that the water is reacting with the hot oil, so you know that your oil is hot enough. And here's where it gets a little messy, but it's kind of fun too. Making sure that your toothpicks are still intact and holding your sandwich together, you're going to take each half and completely dip it into the batter on all sides and edges. Take it out of the batter, knock off any of the excess, and using tongs only, do not dip your hand into the oil, you're going to put the sandwich into the fry oil. Only do 1/2 at a time, just so that you're paying attention and that you're careful with it. And then you're going to fry it on one side, and then you're going to flip it over, and you're looking for the color of like a French toast. Then to make sure that the edges are fried, you're going to sort of hold it with the tongs and dip it all the way around. And just make sure that it's fried evenly on all sides, including the edges. Once your half Monte Cristo is appropriately battered and fried, stick it on a paper plate to drain. Now I'm going to walk you through the other half just to show you how to do that again. Dip the entire sandwich and well coat it in batter, making sure all the edges are coated. Knock off any excess. Using metal tongs only, drop it into the oil. Carefully flip it around to get the other side. Make sure you get your edges. When it's fried all the way around, put it on your paper plate to drain. But we're not finished with the sandwich yet. The length of time in the oil has not given the sandwich enough time to heat all the way through. So the cheese is not melted yet, and the deli meat is not warmed all the way through. So we're gonna finish this in the oven. So go ahead now and take out your toothpicks just so that you don't forget, and then put them on a small baking sheet lined with parchment paper. And now you'll put the sandwich at 350 degrees in the oven for about 5 minutes. And while your sandwich is in the oven, get your raspberry preserves ready for dipping. I know it sounds absurd, but in all honesty, if you want the full Monte Cristo experience, trust me on this, you've got to dip it in a raspberry preserve. So just go ahead and put that on the side. And now that your sandwich has been in the oven for about 5 minutes at 350, the cheese has melted through, the deli meat is hot, and you're going to take each half and you're going to cut it in half again. So what you're really left with is 4 quarters. So after you've plated up your Monte Cristo and included your side of raspberry preserves for dipping, as if the raspberry preserves for dipping isn't enough, your final act of absurdity for the sandwich is to lightly dust the entire sandwich with powdered sugar. You don't have to use raspberry preserves. However, raspberry, as opposed to any other flavor preserves, is the sanctioned preserves for this sandwich, so you gotta do it. And I do think it makes a difference, actually. I do prefer it with raspberry as opposed to like strawberry. My Gen Zer son thinks that this sandwich is an abomination, but I mean, what does he know? First of all, he's a food snob. And second of all, he hasn't been to college yet, so us Gen Xers know what's up, right? I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I hope that you enjoy your authentic kick-butt BENNIGAN'S Monte Cristo sandwich. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. That way you'll be notified of my upcoming episodes, and feel free to hit that notification bell as well. That way you'll be notified of all of my upcoming episodes from YouTube directly. But until I see you all again, everybody, have an awesome, awesome day. Cheers. I love y'all. Oh my God. It's like an out-of-body experience, seriously.